That's why I'm here today.
That's why you're here today. So
I
we
want to
have
learn about that.
two great guests that's going to talk to us about their experiences and going to let us know what are those opportunities and how can we enter into that marketplace, if there are any barriers that need to be addressed, and the solutions, how not necessarily what prevents us from doing that, but what are the ways and the entry points that we can get in.
And what type of business laws we need to know about in order to conduct business in those environments.
And what kind of business opportunities are actually there. So
exactly.
The gentleman, Mr. Alfonso Washington, he is... well, he's going to tell us more about himself, but he's with the African U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and he's been out there across the continent bringing and talking and delegating with people, and he's going to give us some insight on what type of opportunities and what we need to do in order to do that. And so I'm going to turn the mic over to Al. I call him Al.
Okay. And for those of you entrepreneurs who are listening and you want to chime in, our phone number here is 323-293-3375. That's 323-293-3375. So while you're listening, you're gonna your imagination and your interest is going to be piqued. So give us a call.
Right, and we want you to be piqued. We want you to have conversations, because this could be a game changer for a lot of our businesses. So, Mr. Al, we're going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Crystal. In fact, you just you mentioned something that happened that I think really expresses what the chamber is about. You mentioned there was a group that came here from Kenya.
Yes.
And the Kenyans came here because they were interested in providing business opportunities.
Yes.
For people in Kenya.
Yes.
And they were trying to familiarize you with the business opportunities that existed and to try to recruit businesses who could come and engage with both the public and private sector.
Yes.
To be involved in business opportunities. And in fact, that is essentially what our chamber is about, and that is essentially what our conference is about. We do a conference every year. This will be our 6th year. And we have been very fortunate to be welcomed by the city of Carson, who has provided their convention center in perpetuity at no cost to us.
Oh, that's great. Nice.
To do the conference every year. So we are actually into our 3rd year this year of doing the conference at the conference center in Carson.
Mm-hmm.
And Carson, by the way, is a very good location, relatively speaking, if someone is interested in doing business, international trade, and with Africa, because number one, the mayor is very interested in doing that. In fact, he's asked me to help put together a trade mission to Africa to bring a business delegation there to talk about business opportunities and to expose local small businesses to those opportunities as well.
Okay.
So that's essentially in a nutshell what this represents. The Kenyan delegation, in a sense, represents the entire continent. There is a very sincere interest on the part of most African nations, and particularly sub-Saharan African nations, to reestablish, and I say reestablish because it is about reestablishing relationships with African Americans. And the interest is not only cultural; it's also business, because they recognize that there is an ancestral historical relationship that exists between our peoples, and which is because of slavery, and but also because of more than just slavery, because people fail to recognize there are a lot of African Americans who came to this country as free people.
Okay.
They came here from Europe by way of Africa, educated, and they came here and they set up businesses here. And many of them were very successful during the time that blacks from the continent were being enslaved. And so it was, in fact, the free Africans here in the U.S. that were key to the success of not only the Underground Railroad, but the abolitionist movement.
Oh, really?
And they actually were involved in both of those, and in fact, were involved in helping slaves when they were freed to come to the North and to get established so they could transition from slavery into into free society.
That is very, very good information here, and I'm sure most of our entrepreneurs, they're getting into this and they want to get some more out of it. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come right back after 2 minutes. So let's take a break.
Okay.
Didn't know that was going.
Welcome back to the Business Zone. This is Gilbert Buchanan, your co-host, and I'm also the small business paramedic, along with my co-host,
Crystal Mitchell.
Crystal Mitchell, and we're here with two fantastic guests that we're going to present some key information to small businesses today, how you can expand your business acumen to the other coast, other continent. For those of you who want to participate in our conversation here, give us a call at 323-293-3375. That's 323-293-3375. And we're back with our guest, Mr. Alfonso.
But before he hits it, we want to make sure, at the break, Al was sharing some very interesting information that I didn't know about.
I'm loving that.
So there was really more than... Yeah, and that's so interesting that our history is so fragmented that we don't understand really that once they picked up the segment of slaves, Africans, and brought them here to make them slaves, there were still exchanges obviously going on to help their brethren that had been kidnapped.
Yeah, the movie that illustrated that was 12 Years a Slave. And the gentleman that portrayed that, he was not unique to the American culture. There were a lot of freed blacks that lived in this country who were not slaves and who were doing very well for themselves. So that what happened to him could have happened to any one of us here. But the idea is that they existed, and they existed at the same time that slavery was happening. So what we hear a lot about is the slave portion of our history. We don't hear about the entrepreneurial and the economic development portion of it. The fact that, for example, the AME Church during the same period of time founded over 8 colleges and universities.
Wow.
Right.
All right,
We
in this
never heard
country
that.
during that same period of time.
Yeah.
Never heard that.
So the black entrepreneurship is as much a part of the history of this country as slavery. And in fact, it's more important for us because it represented our efforts to build our own local economies.
Exactly.
And to create havens for ourselves where we could live and be relatively free from oppression that existed in the larger society. And it happened in spite of the fact of Jim Crow and separate but equal and all the things in the Supreme Court ruling that they ruling against us, our existence here. Our ancestors, and they were some powerful people, were able to not only create small business communities, but African American communities, and support each other and help each other, and for that matter, prosper in this country, in spite of it all. So that's the beauty of this. Now, to get back to where we are, probably the best historical thing you need to check out on to understand where we're going is Marcus Garvey, because Marcus Garvey essentially was an advocate for African Americans to reconnect with the continent, not only culturally but also economically. And many of the programs that he promoted and started was geared towards that happening. The chamber itself was founded to more or less continue that legacy. And interestingly enough, the chamber was founded by a Nigerian, a guy named Reuben Jaja, who used to work for the Banking Commission for the state of California. But he recognized that there was no advocate for trading with the continent. Most of the efforts for trade were focused on what it still is today: Asia, Europe, Pacific Rim. And so what he did was he started the chamber during the Tom Bradley administration to begin the process of advocating for trade between the U.S. and the continent of Africa. Now, that effort has expanded to the point where we are today, where we do annual conferences to continue this legacy, and to, for that matter, begin the process of recruiting small business owners to and expose them to opportunities that exist not only in Africa but throughout the Pan-African diaspora. Wherever we are located in the world is where we need to be doing business with each other.
That's great.
The conference itself is a small business conference. We do not go after corporate contributions. What we want is small businesses to support the conference.
Doing businesses among
Right,
themselves.
right.
Okay.
And so our goal is to recruit small businesses, have them come to the conference, meet each other, and to support the conference. Most of our sponsorship has come from small business owners, and so we keep the sponsorship levels at low figures so that it's affordable sponsorship. But we also try to have make it affordable for people to not only participate as exhibitors and vendors, but also as registrants. So our fees are literally a quarter of what would normally be charged at a conference.
So now only small businesses who are members can do business?
No. Any small business who has an interest in creating, and I'm going to be very specific about this, creating a department in their business that deals with international trade, and who has an interest in trade with the continent are welcome. Now, let's keep in mind that we don't come without support. Our conference has traditionally had the support of the Exim Bank, of the SBA, of the Department of Commerce, of the USTDA, of the State Department, because we often have to not only receive delegations from Africa, but also as a result of the conference, we take delegations to Africa.
Now, when is the conference? When
it's
is the
September
next
16th and 17th.
September 16th
at
and
the
17th.
Carson Community Center.
Okay.
And we'll be there from 9 till 4 on both days. And again, the conference itself is going to focus on the International Decade for the People of African Descent, which is a Pan-African recognition that is being done by the UN.
Okay.
And we're looking at a 10-year period of time when they're going to look at the contributions of not only people from the continent, but people who are of African descent throughout the world.
Now, what do we need to do in order to get involved in this? Because I'm listening to you, and I know Crystal and I work with a lot of small businesses.
Right.
And I'm sure that we can provide some type of contribution or get small businesses involved in that process. We have a system here called Small Biz Pro, which I'll tell you guys about a little bit later, that will help at that event.
Right.
So let us know what we can do.
Let me just say this. What you do would be a nice addition to what the event is about. I mean, for example, we have featured SBA, who talks about their programs for small businesses and helping them provide loans, but with their involvement in helping set that up. We have featured XM Bank, who talks about how they can help people finance trade transactions. We are involved with the Department of Commerce because the Department of Commerce can help you market what you're trying to do internationally, not just in Africa, but throughout the entire world, as well as USTDA and OPIC, who are part of our connection as well.
Right.
But what we try to do is we try to expose small businesses to the arena of international trade, but they have to understand that international trade has to be added to their business program. It can't be something that they just think they're just going to meld in. They literally have to create an international trade division of their business that focuses on opportunities for what they want to do, and then there are agencies that exist in the U.S. that can help them create that. The Center for International Trade Development will give them an excellent not only breakdown but also instruction on how to develop an international trade division as part of their conference. The Department of Commerce will help them find markets. Exim Bank will help them provide financing. SBA can help them not only provide financing but also help them develop business plans.
Right.
But all of that is part of the mix. But you see, if you're going to be involved in international trade, you have to have somebody as part of your business that's committed to that, because international trade, why it is a very lucrative if done well, it takes time. And you're looking at someone who's commit to 5 to 7 years of development to actually learn how to negotiate, how to use the SBA and the Department of Commerce and Exim Bank. They have to learn global logistics, knowing how to move products from
their infrastructure must be set up to
handle all that
well.
and do all that research. Okay, and so it's more than a notion, but if you can do it, you will add a very important component to your overall business. And there's a lot of support that's available in this country, because this country right now is very much into promoting U.S. exports to other parts of the world.
Right.
One area that they're very interested in and that there's a growing interest in is Africa. And there are many programs that exist within the Department of Commerce, within U.S. Trade and Development Agency, even at Exim Bank, and in OPIC, that are designed specifically to help people engage in the African market.
Right.
But the interesting thing about the African market is that Africans are very interested in doing business with African Americans. There is a very sincere interest. But at the same time, you don't just run into Africa.
Doesn't work that way.
And put up your sign.
And hurry up and try to do stuff. Okay?
Doesn't work that way.
You have to take your time, establish your relationships, and most important, folk, I know this is hard for you to believe, but you got to get on a plane or a boat, and you have to go. You have to spend time there. Okay?
You hear that, entrepreneurs? You got to get on a plane or a boat.
You go to Europe, you go to Paris, you go every place else but home.
Yes.
You need to go to Africa.
Yes.
And spend time there and see for yourself what Africa's about.
That's
and keep
great.
in mind that you're going to a continent, not a country.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And Alfonso, I'd like to just interject here
please.
in terms of the work that I'm doing, and that's exactly what I'm doing, is my research first.
Right.
Is to really engage with people, understand the culture and customs and what's needed.
Right.
And coming as I'm here to learn, and not that I'm coming as an expert.
Exactly.
And I'm going to share some things with some people that I'm working with that express of people that have come with that attitude, that arrogant attitude.
Exactly.
And I'm here, and I have everything to bring.
So to answer your question, what you guys are doing is very important as far as, first off, making people aware of the conference, letting them know that this is their conference. Okay, the conference was not established for me to make money.
Right.
And you'll see that when you look at the pricing. When you go to the website, you'll see that there's no way in the world I'm going to make money off this conference.
Tell us what the website is again.
It's Pan-African Global Trade Conference.com. I'll repeat that again, Pan-African Global Trade Conference.com. Now, when you go to that website, you will see a number of things that will help you. First off, you will see a page there that actually lists all the conference reports that we've done since our first one, and there are 5 reports, and I'm still working on there are 4 reports there now, and I'm working on the 5th report right now. That will be up there by the time we have our 6th conference. In those reports, you will see a documented history of work we've done, who spoke, and whatever accomplishments we had there. But you'll get an idea what the conference was about.
Right.
You'll see our current conference, the list of speakers that are there right now. You'll also see, you have a chance to link to register on site. There'll be a list of the pricing for booths, for sponsors, for people who want to register just as individuals. We have a travel agency that we've hooked up with that out of out of Tennessee, out of Nashville, Tennessee, that's actually handling all of our travel right now. It's a black company, and I'm unashamedly saying this is a black conference. Now, I'm not saying that white folks ain't welcome, but I am saying that this conference is for us.
Right.
Okay, and for our African brothers and sisters. We as a people and business people are on a learning curve, though, when it comes to international trade. And so what we try to do through the conference is help provide them with the resources to begin the process of learning about what international trade is about. And in fact, if they take advantage of the resources that we provide through the conference, they can trade anywhere in the world.
Right.
But we would love to see a focus on the continent, because the continent is very interested in having us there. That's why that group from Kenya came.
Right.
Came.
Now,
Yeah.
let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
Would it be too late for us, Crystal and I, to get on the show, the conference on the 17th, where we can share this system, Small Biz Pro, with those entrepreneurs? Because this system is an amazing system. What it does, it helps to manage the back office. So, as you know, small business, their problem is they cannot find their paperwork. They don't know where it is. This system, what it does, it helps them to store their documents all in one place so they can access it in 10 seconds or less using a smartphone, a tablet, or laptop. So we want to share this with those businesses, because before they do international business or any type of business at all, they've got to be ready.
Yeah.
If you're not ready, you're going to lose out on opportunities. So that's what this is. So we're wondering if, Crystal, if this would be something that we could do on that day, maybe 45 minutes of the time. I don't know.
Actually, most of our presentations are 30 minutes long.
Oh, even 30 minutes is fine.
And the question, the only problem you've got is that the time is pretty much consumed. But I'm not going to say no.
Right.
Because I like what you're doing,
Right.
and I think that what you're doing would add to the conference. One of the things that we might want to talk about is how in the future we can use what you do to promote the conference, sell registration, and do some revenue sharing.
Right.
So for everyone that comes in through your network, we get a piece of the registration
Sounds
fee.
excellent.
So it helps. So we're helping each other.
Sounds
all right?
excellent.
Again, my biggest cost for the conference is food.
Right,
Okay,
right.
if we can pay for the meals, everything else is taken care of.
Do
They
you
can
have
get their own
sponsors? Do you
hotel.
have sponsors?
Yeah, the sponsors are the people that come. I'm trying to tell you, listen. The sponsors are when you buy a ticket, you're sponsoring the conference.
Oh, okay.
If you get a booth,
Right.
you're sponsoring the conference.
Right.
Now there are other people that can come in as sponsors on an individual level. We have a $5,000 level, a $2,500 level, and I think it's about a $1,500 level sponsorship.
Right.
But we literally have no real expenses outside of the food and then the materials we need to provide what's needed. So so that's why our costs are low. We want to keep it that way. So and we're very interested in working with the city of Carson because they've been very open to us, very welcoming to us. And through them, we've developed relationships with Cal State Dominguez Hills, which is one of our universities that we're associated with. We also have a working relationship with Pepperdine University and with UC Irvine, and we're expanding that primarily because both of those campuses have programs for entrepreneurship. One is an entrepreneurship program that it provides seed funding for entrepreneurship through Pepperdine that we're going to feature at the conference, and we're going to actually do a small business Shark Tank with a group of some group of investors to actually receive presentations from people who want to do business, and they will receive advice as to what investors are looking for, because this is about an investor group that will sit and look at them and say, okay, we can invest in you, but you need to understand what investment is about. So they'll get education as to what investment is about, but they'll also have an opportunity to make a presentation to 3 people who are involved, who have people in both a social and enterprise investment and private investment, who have money and and if they see something that they can work with, they will work with you.
That's great.
Okay, I guarantee you that.
That is
yes, ma'am.
Can I ask?
Sure.
So, what are some of the if someone was looking to establish some relationships, and what type of businesses and what kind of opportunities are there?
On the continent, your business opportunities are unlimited. I mean, you name it, it's needed. But probably, if I was to actually have people focus on any area at all, it would be the power, providing power, solar. Any type of
utility.
But just providing power. Because see, right now, for example, I'll give you an example. We've just been invited by the Zambian government to put together a delegation to go to Zambia to help them develop their open markets because they have these open markets where people are selling goods, but there literally is no power grid or infrastructure to support them. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in and look at setting up solar paneling, maybe some wind technology that will give them power they need, and then bringing in refrigeration and other things that they need to help their food stay edible for longer periods of time, but also enhance the environment in which they are actually trying to sell their goods. So we're working on that project right now. Literally anything that's associated with power or providing power or telecommunications even is needed. Business office supplies needed.
Wow.
Anyone who has any background in developing infrastructure, whether it's airport infrastructure, railroad infrastructure, port infrastructure, roads, needed. They have a very sincere interest in anything that is made in America. Okay, clothing, food, clothing. They love American goods because they see them as very high quality, and they will wear a shirt that's made in America just like we would wear something that was made in France.
Right.
The African people are very much into it. The other thing you need to know about the continent is that there are a lot of communities here in Southern California that are basically centered around the people that come from the continent. So there's a Ghana association, there's an association of people from Ethiopia, there's an association of people from Tanzania, there's Nigeria. They're here, from Cameroon, live in Southern California, but they formed groups, and they interact with each other, but they have also very strong interest in interacting with African Americans who are sensitive to the continent. So you don't come in there with a European attitude.
Right.
And if you don't do that, you're going to do fine. But believe me, these are very intelligent people.
Very good.
And they know they can read you real good, and they appreciate when you're able to read them.
Alfonso, you didn't mention service industry.
No, it's
in terms
hospitality.
Of,
yes, very much so. One of the things that they like African American food. Okay. So, but anybody that can, and for that matter, they love. If you can go in and develop a hotel or something like that, that type of stuff that type of enterprise is needed there as well.
And what in relation to health, healthcare?
Yeah, health. They are very interested in developing or improving the healthcare infrastructure, particularly in rural areas. Anyone who can go in and put in a clinic in a village setting. That is self-sustaining. That is very much needed.
My interest is the health
right.
area.
Okay, that would be perfect.
Mental health as well as.
No problem. So literally, what you could do is you could go to a country, and we form an association with the Minister for Health there, and talk to them about what we can do to link up their major hospital with their rural system, and actually help improve their overall healthcare infrastructure and their network. That's very much needed on the continent, right?
And actually, I'm going to step in right now so we can introduce Denise. Denise has, she's like most entrepreneurs.
Before we introduce Denise, I'm sure Denise has some great things she wants to share, so we don't want to miss any of that. Why don't we go ahead and take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. We'll talk to Denise and talk some more about this wonderful set of opportunities we have in front of us. So, again, our phone number is 323-293-3375. That's 323-293-3375.